isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
Cheech, what's wrong with your camera, dude?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. All right, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Crush This, a Monster Truck Podcast. My name is Brad Shaw, also known as the Monster Truck Canucker, and with me, as always, for 5 or 6 years, I don't even know how long we've been doing this, Mr. Dan Cheech Agash. Dan, how's it going tonight, dude?
Hey, pretty well. Outside of the camera difficulty, I just was like, "Oh, hurry up! I got time for a Pepsi." And I open up the door, bounce on the table, and my computer goes. And I was like,
that's
cool.
why you got to be prepared, man. You got to be prepared.
Never flying on the edge next to the sword. You live and you die by the sword. That's how you do it. Anyway, doing pretty well. Got a dealership this week over in Tennessee. Kingsport, Tennessee, I think. Kingsport. It's actually like a town over from Bristol. So we are going to be around that area, which is crazy because last Sunday or Monday, yesterday, was the Bristol race for NASCAR. Next week's the Lucas Oil late models there. So, I mean, the week after the dealership. So we'll be missing some fun racing, but it is what it is. But just wanted to come out and enjoy this one. But how are you doing, Brad? And then maybe we could talk about our sponsors here.
Hey, I'm doing good. Getting myself situated. Thank you, Cheech, for taking over the episode last week with Dan Patrick. Sucks that I had to miss it, but I was not.
Sorry, a lot of people said get well soon.
Thank you. I was feeling under the weather. You know, I'm getting stuff figured out. As you can see, different surroundings. I'm at my parents' house right now, spending some time with them. Brought my computer, everything over here, so just spending time. And we'd also like to thank our sponsors that always show us love here on the podcast. Starting off with, I'm waiting for it to scroll past here. High Octane Coffee of Joy Sylvester, Jade Concepts, Backchatter Productions. They just posted the Renegade Monster Truck Tour video from Abbottstown, Pennsylvania, the one I was at. 6B Apparel, you can get our crew shirts, $100 a pop. Either message me or Cheech. There we have the Retro Wave and the old school shirt. And also JB Scale Graphics, who Cheech, they're working on something special that might be debuting hopefully soon for you.
Oh yeah. Right now they are officially licensed with Bigfoot. Bad Habit, Obsessed, Against the Grain, Heavy Hitter, the Ripper, that bang 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 Ripper truck, and getting that's the big news right there. The Ripper is just debuting. And other things are coming out of the fire right now. And another one that's pretty cool is that I borrowed Brad's artwork, and JB Scale's gonna do a Crush This RC wrap for Sugar King for me, and gonna switch it with the Wildside truck. Wildzide's gonna try to be on the LMT spec class, and I'm gonna run that. But I just saw the chat. Mark Willer, if you ever heard of him, he was the guy that created the Pteroduster, raced Bret the Hitman Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, all of them. If there's a way for me to message you, man, to have you on the show, that'd be awesome.
That's cool.
And hear stories about you and the Pteroduster. One of the few people that are rocking the Ram Dodge brand while he was running a Plymouth Duster. That was Plymouth's version of, I think, the Ram Charger or their pickup truck.
I believe so.
But anyway, that'd be cool to have. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have a Crush This rocking that out. So if that looks good and everything like that, I'll talk to JB Cell Graphics, see if that could be a wrap that he can push through if anyone wanted to do that. So the truck's gonna be called Crush This.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be pretty cool. So,
and the design is based off of the truck that we made for the Outlaw Monster Truck Drags, the virtual one last year. Dan ran one event in the Crush This truck. I also ran in my truck Riptide. So that's going to be the design. It's kind of like, kind of old school style trucks. So, but let's get to the interview here. Cheech, do you want me to intro it?
Sure. Since you already asked, and that'd be awkward for me to say no. So you go ahead.
All right. So our guest today, he's been doing videography for Monster Jam for a couple of years now. I know him from doing motocross stuff and ATV stuff. He's filmed with Jimmy Albertson, Ronnie Mack, Brett Q, Trey Kennard, based in Oklahoma. I've known about him for a long time, been watching him for a couple of years now. And so ladies and gentlemen, none other than Mr. Blake Shipman. Blake, how's it going, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for definitely coming on, man.
It's always a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I like the show. I think this is cool. I didn't know that you had watched all the moto videos, Brad.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of friends that were into a lot of motocross back in the day, and big fan of Trey Kennard, one of my favorite motocross riders of all time, and just found your videos from scrolling through YouTube videos of him, and a guy by the name of Ronnie Mack, which people know him fairly well these days. So that's kind of how I found out about your videos, and then found out you're doing stuff with monster trucks. So now you're here.
Yeah. I so not to not to bum you guys out, I don't have anything to do with monster trucks anymore.
Oh, that's
new. Good night.
Right?
I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter.
Quickest episode ever, everybody.
Good night.
Well, no, we interview people that come and go to the monster truck industry. We interview anyone that put their hand in the cookie jar. Let's just say, next Friday, there's two things I don't need you to mean is don't smoke my stuff and don't put your hands in the cookie jar. Can you feel me?
The reason I bring it up is only because I didn't want anyone to think that I was claiming something that I didn't have anymore. Because it's kind of a cool thing to be able to say you work and film monster trucks and Monster Jam, and so it would be lame of me to lie and say I did when I don't anymore.
It's all good. We have interviewed people that have done their time, raced monster trucks maybe for a few years and left and did something else. Or just anyone that has done stuff.
Yeah.
So
we talked to anyone with Monster Jam, and about 4 years before that with Supercross and Arena Cross, so about 10 total with them.
Okay. So we talk about anything, and we wanted to talk about a different side of it because with the years prior, like maybe I saw you a lot in 16 and stadium tours, 17, 18. The vignettes or the videos that you guys do after the shows were awesome, and I always wanted to talk to someone that was pretty good at that, or just what catches your eye, stuff like that. So let's backtrack. And what got you into doing? What fell in love first, filming, or not obviously, but filming, or the extreme sports or the motorsports type aspect?
Extreme sports was first, and then when I realized I wasn't good or didn't have the balls for it, I just did video.
It sounds like me in high school. It's like, oh my god, all my friends are like, yeah, I can do kick flips and stuff like that. I ride my bike, go off a ramp, face first into the ground, and I wake up with a concussion, and I go, I need to try something else. So I did a little bit of video work on like extreme sports, and basically say like, I like it, but I don't have the balls to do it, or I don't like getting hurt. So I'll go ahead and do it anyway, like film it.
For sure. Yeah. It's like, you guys go ahead. I'll just film it.
It's like, okay, you guys make the dumb decisions. I'm going to stay safe right over here.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be the guy that says, "Ow, that hurt."
Yeah. You don't want to be the guy going, "Ow, that hurt."
Echo.
Yeah, I started so with extreme sports, and then I still enjoy riding, like I do it recreationally now. And I would say I probably drive or ride at a beginner level. I was never that good, and so I just do it for fun. And so, starting to do video, I just always had friends that were into it, so we always went out, and there the camera was. I kind of hijacked it from my dad. He had the family camera. Whenever we were little, everyone's got that the family camera that comes out whenever it's Christmas morning or something, and he would break that out. And so whenever he quit doing that, I dusted it off and popped some fresh recordable VHS tapes in that bad boy and started filming like in the ditches with my buddy Alex doing BMX stuff. And then my dad would build us like homemade ramps that we would jump with our bicycles and film that. And yeah, man, I just never stopped. There's never a time where I took a break from it. I just, from the ages about, I was probably 12 or 13 years old when I started filming, and I haven't quit. And I'm 32 now. So
was the technology back then, you mentioned using VHS tapes, like how did you have to like edit the videos? Because that's like something I've always wondered, like if they film on big VHS camcorders, how would you edit that stuff?
So I had a digital transfer deal that I plugged in my component, my cables, my the classical red and yellow and white cables for audio, video, and I should know this. The other one, I've been a long day, but plug that in, and you can plug that in through USB on, at the time, a PC computer. And I would literally just hit play on the camera and hit record on this Pinnacle Studio software. And if it was 37 and a half minutes of raw footage, then you sat there and it picked up every real, every imperfection it picked up, and it transferred over. And that stuff was lost in a house fire, but I had it forever, and it was digitized, and yeah, until SD cards came around, or memory cards came around, we used tapes.
Man, so what was the first show or person that came up to you and saying, "Hey, can I pay for you to film?" It seemed like a lot of the opportunities, like when I tested the waters in college, it seemed like a lot of it was either weddings or graduations and stuff like that before I even got a chance to, film my, a car meet or Cars or Coffee or a, stuff like that. What was an opportunity for you to get your foot into the door of doing stuff that you loved watching or even was considering doing? What was your first opportunity?
I pretty much had to make my first opportunities, and I say that like I didn't really know why this was my first pick, because there was no internet whenever I started doing this, so you couldn't just put things on the internet and show off. The only way to get your stuff out there was to wait for a yearly DVD, and you had to put up the money or find sponsorship to put the DVD together to produce it and then put it out to the world. Well, I did that on a very small scale for the first 3 or 4 DVDs that I did, like out of my pocket, whatever job I was working at. I mean, you put $200 or $300 in it every so often, and just, it kind of adds up, and you just can't count man hours when you do that. You just have to completely throw that out of your mind, because you're not going to ever get those back. It's experience and time and practice that you're investing in. And eventually you hope it turns out to be at least what I have had happen to me. So that being said, I had to make those opportunities to promote myself, I guess. And it wasn't even really to promote myself. I was just making them because it was really fun. Like I was so all about it. Like, it's like a painter paints, they just paint, they just do it. They have no intention of selling it. They just do it, which is bad business in the beginning. But when you're 18 years old, it's not that big of a deal. But whenever it comes time to make it a job, then you really got to start finding out how you can make money at that stuff. And so when that comes along and you're still making DVDs, there's not a big opportunity for action sports DVDs anymore. It's all through the internet. Well, I kind of backed away from doing DVD stuff when the internet came up, and I focused on pretty much just putting it on there. And the end result was almost the same, because with DVDs and only that market, you're investing in the hard copies, and you've got to spoon feed that to people. Well, on the internet, you only invest in the actual video, and then the file goes up, and then it could just spread. Well, that started to happen, and more people kind of took notice of my work, and I started getting, trusted with faster riders, with big sponsors that were afraid of their riders looking foolish on camera. And once, a good group of people figures out that you can manage that stuff and you can handle it and deal with some of the gray area of filming some of these guys testing, then you're kind of trusted to come out and take on more responsibility for them. And if you're really smart, you're capitalizing on all these on all this content that these sponsors need. So that, a few years into that, I actually didn't get approached from Feld. I illegally shot one of their shows and sent them the footage after I made a video, and I was like, hey, I want a job. And then they were like, oh, okay. And like, it seemed like it was only, I want to say it was only like 6 or 8 months later, after, their season had ended, I'd sent them the video. And I won't say the name, I'll say initials, JD. And JD hit me up and said, hey, I like that video, and I'm the director of Arena Cross at the time. Come on board. Would you be interested in coming on board and doing tour? And the thing about that is, which I've never even talked about this before, because it's never been brought up, and I don't really go around go back in my day. I think that's annoying. But whenever someone's like, yeah, man, I can't believe that they're making whatever problem they have. My first anything with Feld, they made me drive from round to round, and I paid for my gas, and I made maybe $500 every 2 weeks. And I was working like 6-7 days a week. I mean, they treat you like a doctor on call, because they need that stuff ASAP. And, that was my introduction into Feld. So after that, I took a year off and kind of did the DVD thing again, and then went back to Feld for another different Arena Cross, which was like under the Ricky Carmichael sponsorship title, where it's like Ricky Carmichael's Road to Supercross. Did a couple of Monster Energy Cups, and then took another year off. And then JD called me back and was like, hey, I know that Arena Cross and like Supercross and that stuff is cool and everything, but we're about to have like quads and razors, and I know that's your thing, in with monster trucks. And I was like, sure, I'm all about that. Cut to spending 6 years with Monster Jam. So, I could only spend about a year at Arena Cross, and then I would dip out for a year, and then I'd spend a year, or not even a year, at Supercross, because I never was there a whole season, but I never did sign on for that. But then I would commit to 6 years with Monster Jam. It tells you kind of how cool it is. So
you said something that kind of stuck out to me. You had an analogy of the painter, and you first starting out, you're just doing stuff basically for yourself, like you're learning, and I can relate to that, because same with graphic design for me. Like the first couple of years I started doing it, it was just, for me doing it on video games or just for shits and giggles, trying to learn. And then, turned out, won the Bigfoot design contest. And then I've had designs for, I've worked with companies now with, the Ratu Motorsports Gang and Monster Truck Throwdown and all them. So I can relate to that, because it's a struggle, and it's also a learning experience in the same way, because you're trying to dig for that chance, and when it finally comes, that's rewarding. When you finally, you're like, hey, you see your hard-earned work. You know, like I remember I went to Pennsylvania this last October to go see some of my designs for the first time, and I remember that feeling. It's like, holy shit, I've made it. You know, it's that feeling. But I could relate to that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have your work recognized for sure, especially whenever you have, whenever I told everybody around me that I was going to quit my full-time job at the time and start filming, they were like, well, how is that going to happen? Because you got to make money for it to be a job. And then I started tour. I remember we were on vacation we used to go on vacation before COVID, Burn. And it was always like the year before, right before New Year's. And I remember working on video and in anticipation of Arena Cross for the production crew and the team, and Feld and everything while I was on vacation. And so, I mean, it's a lot of work, and 10 years of it, it was 10 years straight up. And it was a good opportunity, and it was fun to meet everybody. And they definitely love having cool videos. So that's, it's cool to have that being appreciated. So, it was definitely good to have that recognized. But I haven't even gotten to shoot a monster truck since, it's been since March 15th, I would think. The weekend before March 15th. So that was the last time I've had anything to do with filming a monster truck.
Right. I know you're telling us previously about the last time you did anyway, what got you said, you stuck with the Monster Jam thing for about 6 years. What got you intrigued on staying on? I mean, as a crew guy, I mean, for me that sticks on to it, even though I was in love with the monster truck type deal, it was the people around that always got me going. Different characters, different people, the atmosphere. It's just intrigued me to keep on going. What got you the itch?
Yeah.
Because you said you only did 1 year this, 1 year that. Take a break and this and that. But this one, Monster Jam or Monster Trucks in general, got you going. 6 years in a row. What got you, I guess, to keep on going?
That's a good question. I don't know. I wish I guess it has to be the people, because if they sucked, I wouldn't have stuck so long. And I think that if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't have hung in there. So I think I had to have enjoyed it. Everyone has their moments where they're like, what am I doing? But, they always ended up getting me back for after we wrap up tour and I do the closing ceremonies video for the whole year or whatever it is. And that's all wrapped up, and we do finals, which is hell week. No matter what they tell you, they all know it's a crazy week out in Vegas, and then in Florida, which is even hotter. They've got a big group of guys that can handle what we did, and what I started doing with them. And it's just, I mean, it's hard to explain, I guess, because on one half it's a blur because you travel so much. You're just hotel, airport, inside a stadium, tunnel, hotel, airport, stadium. I mean, it's just non-stop. And there'll be times where I'm like, I've been in this airport before, I think, and I don't remember ever being there. I'm like, I don't think I've been in Delaware, but I spent 7 days there. At some point, you're just like, and since COVID happened, man, like it's been an absolute 180 from what things were going. I mean, I've got more local work. I live in Oklahoma, and it's been a huge push in local work and not as much motorsports. Still has to do with outdoor recreational lifestyle stuff. There's some corporate stuff in there. You deal with small businesses a lot. but a lot of the time it's not as exciting as Monster Jam was. So that part I miss.
You know, and you know, you were mentioning, you know, and the Chiefs, you know, being with Monster Jam for 6 years, and you were kind of there at the beginning of like the Triple Threat series, the more Monster Jam series. You know, you were kind of at the beginning of that, and you know, in the beginning. So, you know, you were there in like you know, when Dalton Milliken was there, and seeing the evolution of that tour, and talk about, you know, that tour in specific, because, you know, they were doing something completely different, you know, adding quads and side by sides into it. And, you know, the talk about the evolution of that tour as it progressed when you were on it.
So I got to tell you, that tour was one of the most fun. Sorry, I got my dogs in here and they're making weird noises. So the most fun, one of the most fun tours I had, and it was, so we had Morgan Kane, Becca McDonough, Dalton Milliken, we had Cody Saucier, we had Bailey Shea, who else? Colt Michael Berger. Man, we had a solid group, and it was, we had the Basil brothers. That was the very first tour that I had, and I remember walking into this training facility where I was to be introduced to, you know, all the drivers and say, hey, this is the tour videographer or whatever. And I had looked around and I'd pinpointed, you know, I looked right at one guy or kid pretty much, you know, and he goes, I go, Dalton. And he was like, what? You're here? And I was like, you're here? And because I had filmed with Dalton for one of my DVDs. So he was there, and we was like reconnected, hit it off right away. And he had already had been around the other drivers. And so he was like, hey, you know, Blake's cool. And they were like, oh, okay, if he's cool, if you say he's cool, then, you know, he's cool. And it was just a good time. And I got to tell you one more story about that. So one of the hotels messed up and gave me a presidential suite with like 3 rooms and a living room and like all this crazy stuff. So we had a party in it, and I told no, who else? Who showed up? Tyler Meninga was there, and I told Tyler, I said, go to McDonald's and get a pyramid-sized style of cheeseburgers and bring them back. So he goes and gets them, brings them back. We stock the fridge full, and I cut to. Oh wait, real quick. So Cody will tell you this. Cody was sitting up there in the kitchen, and one of these guys, I don't even remember his name, but he was part of the crew, and he was an easy target. And I'm not a bully, and he was always agging us on. He would almost just tee stuff up and say stuff for us to just harp on him. And he kept at it. So he got too courageous one time, spotted another party down in the courtyard, 3 stories below my presidential suite, in the hot tub down below. He goes, crashes this party like an a-hole, and I grabbed one of those cheeseburgers off the pyramid. Cody Cersei will tell you this is good. And I Uncle Rico'd that thing. I put water all over that, and I Uncle Rico'd that thing across the courtyard, and it hit this kid in the head in the middle of a populated hot tub, and dude, couldn't have been any better. It was so good.
The Uncle Rico.
I'm dying at that fact. You called it, you Uncle Rico'd it. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Because I'm right now picturing him throwing that steak at the bully in my face. And now oh, that's so great.
I got to give that to Cody Cersei. He texted me that. He's like, remember that one time you Uncle Rico that cheeseburger at that kid?
See, now I want to hear the story from his point of view now, from Cody's point of view.
Oh my gosh.
I would love to. I love when he tells it. And then, so that same night, I wake up to Morgan, and I don't know who else. They've stacked the couch on its, up like this and against my doorway where I couldn't get out of my bedroom.
Oh my!
Oh my god!
Gosh.
So that was the first year that they had brought in and had done the ATVs and the side by sides and the trucks. And I like that stuff, but it's such a small arena style to have to pack that all in. And when you do 3 and 4 shows a weekend, it is monotonous.
So when you got the taste of doing stadium shows, I bet you that was a little bit of a lighter load, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't want to say lighter load. It's just a lot more. It's a lot easier to pay attention to because there's so much more going on, and there's a lot. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the drivers have a lot more room to gallop, and they got a lot more opportunity to show off their skill. And it just they're in arenas they're trying not to do building damage and things like that, and in the stadiums they're also not trying to do building damage, but they're also like, this show better kick ass, so do something rad.
Yeah.
How was it watching a driver like Tyler Manning, develop over the years? He started in Blue Thunder, made his way up to a digger truck, and then all of a sudden the kid just exploded doing these incredible, moonwalks and nose wheelies. How was it watching a guy like him, develop as quickly as he did?
It's absolutely crazy what him and, Colt and Ryan, they're all like turning the pad in the middle into a skate park. It's pretty surreal what they're able to do with throttle control and the brake and be able to switch from forward to reverse and with the consistency too, and the way he saves it. I can't count the number of saves I've had from that dude, just to the point where you can't even fit him in a highlight. They're like, okay, that's too much. I'm like, well, he's the one who's crushing it. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, definitely with Ryan, he caught the eye with the hooligan people, over there in California, and they brought his truck over there and stuff.
Yeah, Ryan's got a crazy style too. He can recover with the best of them. Like, I think that dude, him, I mean, I don't know what. I think that just happens over time. I think that you just end up finding out every which way that truck can be pushed. And if he knows if he's spinning backwards toward the left, that he's just got to turn the wheel a little bit to the right and then floor it in reverse. At some point, it's going to come around. I think that really is what it is. And you just got to kind of trust yourself, I assume. And when you're flying around, you're like, okay, I'm just going to give a little goosey Rooney and hope this thing comes around. And, saw that with that front flip too. I mean, that was, I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but it was crazy.
So
man, and
go ahead, Cheat. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just saying.
I was gonna, with doing monster truck events, I want to ask, were you a fan of monster trucks before, doing the events, working with Feld? Were you knowledgeable about the sport at any, or was this kind of like your full in first time?
I kind of joked like in the beginning because, I think every videographer's main goal is to be a supercross when it comes to Feld. And that's like the bragging rights. It's like we all get paid to film something, but they want to get paid to film supercross. And if Marvin, hush. And if they end up getting to that point, then I mean they have those bragging rights. So it's kind of like a cool thing to say is like, yeah, I filmed supercross. And I was that guy for a couple of years. I was like, yeah, everyone knew I filmed supercross. And that was like, you're with the elite guys. Like there's no better than those top 20 dudes. And I would joke to myself, I'm like, watch, I don't want to say demote me, but like, watch, they're going to have me a Monster Jam. And this was before the days of like, the crazy combos and the airwalks. And it's just like, yeah, sorry, dudes. It's like a BMX park, and so when I got to Monster Jam, it was like a whole different sport by the time I got there. I really got lucky because whenever I showed up, Ryan was on his way up. Tyler was just a year or two away from starting. It was before he got in. I remember Tyler showed up to a couple of shows just as a fan and was just all about it. And then they had him come and do some press training that I filmed at Tom's house. And I mean, he just kind of hit the ground running with it. Just seeing it evolve, and like, I got lucky. I got to film with Dennis Anderson before he retired. I was there at the event where he had the crash that pretty much was his last hurrah. That was the show that I was on tour with. And I get to work with Tom Mintz. Sometimes Tom will still call me and be like, what are you doing? Just hope you're doing good. And, I still talk to Ryan, Cody, my buddy Nate Williamson. He's a videographer that worked with me there. And, a lot of good people came out of it. It was a crazy sport. And I absolutely think that if it wasn't for, guys like Ryan and Tyler and still Tom, I don't know that the sport would be what it is,
I know. Well, for me, I was thinking about asking this question, and I first met you when I was a crew member at Feld, and we all did the Paxton Training Center, and I'll hang out a lot at the Josh Dykes crib, and
I remember up with his driveway.
Yeah, and I was trying to bring up saying, the times of at the Paxton, at the Feld Monster Jam. Well, I always call it Paxton, but Monster Jam University and stuff like that. But
I call it Paxton too. That's how
excuse me. And how was that experience? Because a lot of people don't get to see that side. I mean, you're from Oklahoma, Paxton, Illinois, flatland, cornfields.
Yeah, very similar. It's like a family out there. Everyone knows who the Monster Jam people are, and the diner knows, the gas station knows, the Carl's Jr. knows, the Casey's General Store knows. The Motel 6 is not the Motel 6, but it's
the
like
Paxton
a Motel
Inn.
6. Paxton Inn, that's what it is. You can hear the mice screwing in the walls. We've stayed there much, yeah. It's just it's wild seeing people get in a truck for the first time that have never been in one, and seeing what they will and won't try. And I know that you should never judge a book by its cover, but I think in motorsports you should maybe take a look at how some people maybe carry themselves, or how they're going to react to a minor flip over or something. I've never been in a monster truck before, but I've flipped things over while you're strapped in, and you just, it is what it is. I think some people are built for it. I think some people are not. And I think that they find out real quick if they're built for it or not out in Paxton.
Right. I remember the one time I was there, and Tom told this lady, she was, to backside a jump. And he said, go with momentum and then throttle and hit. Well, she didn't realize how high she was, and she hit the brakes, and she basically, nosedived the truck in, and she thought she was really, really high. Like you said, it's you'll find out someone's, character, or you find someone's way by their body language, or throwing them in the truck, and how they will handle a situation with a monster truck. I mean, a lot of these people are getting lucky to driving a truck for the first time. A lot of the guys back in the day, what they did was build the truck, run the truck, and their first time running it is at a show. So, I mean, it's, they're already embarrassing themselves in front of people. Well, you make mistakes. That's why you got Tom's Place and stuff like that. Now, outside of doing videography work for Feld and stuff like that, you were doing a lot of skits and moto, not supercross, but motocross type deals. A lot of side work, I guess, projects, and those are some of the most hilarious projects I ever seen. And some of the stuff that you do, was it Chuck Norris's son? or Jeremy McGrath's son or something like that nature. I mean, how do you go with these skits and projects? Are you on the crapper just going, I got an idea, I'm like, use it, or something like that nature? Let's talk about that stuff, the good stuff.
I think I've always been kind of a observational person. Like I just kind of watch things, and I have a different perspective on almost everything than anyone else I know. You know, I kind of look at stuff and like, well, what about this? And everyone's like, I never thought of it like that. Well, I think that applies to just my jokes and the way that I perceive things. Sometimes I'll laugh at something in a room full of people and no one else will laugh because the thing that someone said wasn't supposed to be funny. It's not offensive or anything. It's just something that I thought was funny, or maybe I'm thinking of how that could apply to another scenario, but I should just like not laugh. I should just take that and go with it. But like for some of the skits, like so when I was working for Monster Jam, I would have, there'd be a couple of weeks or a month or two off where it's before finals or something like that. And, I had Fox Racing hit me up and Red Bull, and I had a few of these companies contacting me trying to recreate mouth stuff and these skits for their promotional use. And so Red Bull hit me up and said that they wanted me to make fun of their riders in anticipation for their Red Bull Straight Rhythm. And so I did that, sent that off. And I mean, people pay for that stuff, it's crazy. It's hard to explain that to family members, but it's true. And I did something for Fox Racing where they wanted me to pretty much roast people in corporate office at Fox. So he gave me a list and face headshots and said, cut their mouths out and make fun of them. And just, this is what this person's always saying in the office. This is what this person's always saying in the office. And I did that. So, I mean, it's almost like I don't want to say a comedian doing like corporate gigs, but it is. They're like, hey, we like that. That was funny. We want you to apply that comedic humor to, us. And this is how we think this would be a good idea. So, if they wanted someone else to do it, they would ask him, but they asked me. So it's kind of cool.
So the one question that I wanted to ask, if that's okay with you, Cheech, I don't know what you guys were talking about.
We're already moving on from monster trucks already. We're talking about skits and small videos.
You can talk about it if you want. It doesn't matter.
Okay. So I want to talk about some of the Oklahoma motocross stuff because like I was mentioning before we went on air, I got introduced to you from a buddy of mine just watching videos on Trey Kennard and all that. So, working with guys like, Trey Kennard, who else? Ronnie Mack, Jimmy Albertson. There's so many guys out in Oklahoma that are just solid straight rippers. Brett Q, Kenny Bartram, and being within that scene, how was it seeing the popularity of like guys like Brett Q, even Austin Faulkner, like seeing the popularity of these guys just blowing up when it was?
It's cool. It's fun seeing people that on TV. It's kind of cool to see that just normal people can do amazing things, and it makes it seem more attainable whenever it's your neighbor, pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of fast dudes who live around here. I've got a lot of friends that are I mean, there's no beating around the bush. They're like world-renowned athletes that I work with, I get paid to work with, and I have to be around to some extent just to get a job done. And there's people that would pay money to do that, and it's fun to say you get paid to work with these guys that people would sit in line to meet. And to your question, like guys like Bogle and Fortner and Colt Nichols and, Thomas Brown, who rides quads, I'm huge in the quad stuff. I love, quad racing. I love all kinds of motorsports. I just filmed an event called the Chili Bowl, which is a big, midget racing deal. Yeah, that's right. And I'm 32, like I said, and this is the first year I've ever gone. I took Coop Knuckles with me, who is Tom Mentz's Coop. Yeah. So I call him Coop. But I took him with me, and Kyle Larson's getting interviewed on MAV TV or Flow Racing Live. I told Coop to go down there in the infield and get me a shot because I'm on the exterior trying to get the outside of the track from far away. I told Coop to go down in there, and he's literally just standing there like well, Kyle Larson is in front of him on camera getting an interview for his win at the A feature Saturday night in Coop.
Oh my god!
He would do that, not knowing that. Yeah, you probably saw that interview.
It's like the. Can you hear me now? Okay, good.
Yeah. Go back and watch the feature. I urge everyone who's going to watch this to go back and watch Kyle Larson's winning interview because Coop is standing there the entire time.
That'd be like if John Force is having an interview, you just see me in the back. I'm like, what?
It's exactly
what's
like
going
that.
on? Why am I here?
Yeah, I love Coop though. He's awesome.
Yeah, Coop. I shout out to Cooper. Him and Alexi has that Dream Network or Dream Productions stuff that's doing on YouTube. Sorry, Cooper, for screwing that up. Dream Team, something like that. But go check them out on Facebook. And it's pretty cool to watch them. And speaking about Coop, I think he just messaged me. Oh no, that's some random guy wanting to know about Colt Cobra. Anyway, so some of the stuff that they do is pretty funny also. So go check them out. Now we the experience of the Chili Bowl is one of the I went there maybe 3-4 years ago, and it's pretty cool, pretty crazy. Everyone just comes together and just enjoy some racing and stuff like that. How was that experience, and how did you get connected with it? Did someone mention to you about it, or was that always with your plan on going to videotape basically the most exciting indoor race in the United States?
It was just a fortunate circumstance, which, I'd started working with a big dealership here called James Hodge Ford, and they're out of Muskogee, Oklahoma, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump over from me. And they sponsor the Pace trucks with a Ford F-250 and a Toyota Tacoma. And so they had sponsored it for the last while, and they give the heavy hitters and their teams, a vehicle to cruise around all week. And so that's pretty awesome too. They sponsor some drivers, they sponsor teams, and we went out there with a we had a 5-person crew, and we covered the entire event. You can watch the feature on YouTube right now and on James Hodge Toyota, but it's almost a 40-minute feature on Chili Bowl. I'm really proud of it because it's a week of hell for a cameraman. I mean, it's a lot to cover, and I spent 2.5 months editing this together, just fine tuning it and making it what I was prepared to put out there. And I'm really proud of it. I think it was an awesome event. I'm bummed it took me so long to go. And I'm also bummed that I waited to go on the year of the COVID because it was a mask mandate and just, it's just everyone had to be yelled at for putting a mask on, and that's always annoying. So that part kind of sucked.
So what's the because I've watched clips of the Chili Bowl throughout the years, and they have it on iRacing, which I've messed around with that. But what's the atmosphere like? In a race that you're seeing guys like I know Alex Bowman was there. You mentioned Kyle Larson. Lots of NASCAR drivers are there. Ricky Stenhouse, I believe, was there. What's the atmosphere like in an event like that, comparing to, like, let's say a Monster Energy Cup or the Monster Jam World Finals? What's the atmosphere like comparing to different events you've been at?
I'll tell you this much. This was the first time the Chili Bowl, honest to God, out of all the Supercrosses, out of all the Monster Jams, out of all the Arena Crosses, Monster Cup, freestyle events, X Games, I don't care. This was the first event I'd ever walked into an area and was told to leave. Like, because of the drivers that were there. Apparently I walked up and Jeff Gordon was standing up there. Now, I know who Jeff Gordon is, but I could give a baker's fuck. I was up there to get some footage and get, some video of the race cars. And they're like, I looked in one guy's direction. He's like, I'm like, what? He's like, okay, I guess I'll leave. Not. I've never gotten that at the Andersons, not at Trey Kennard's, not at Dean Wilson's, not at James Stewart's, not at any of them. But at Chili Bowl for the NASCAR section, don't even bother.
Man, that's crazy. Now, outside the Chili Bowl, you mentioned about Ford and the sponsorship. I saw the Ford dealership. I want to know the story of how you got your hands on the footage of that guy busting out F-bombs and like the Ford commercial saying, if you want a piece of crap Chevy, what was it? That it's so funny because I watched that when I just watch it because I'm like, who made this commercial and how awesome is it how he rips on, he doesn't talk about Ram or Chrysler, he just talks about Chevy, and he's and he's smoking a cigarette. He just puts a cigarette in his hands, and like how the John Waynes and all them do. How did you get your hands with that footage? And that's so crazy.
You could find all that stuff on the internet. I don't know if that was a real Ford ad or what, but it looks like a real Ford ad. And back in the 80s, I could totally see that passing.
There's a lot of that stuff there. There's the one that guy couldn't say buttery flaky crust, whatever. There's that one. There, like, some of that stuff is priceless.
Yeah, man. I would love to reproduce an ad like that, but you just couldn't. You get canceled.
And you just found that, you just watched it, and you're like, "This is epic."
Yeah. I don't know where I found that ad. I think I just stumbled across it. And I was like, wow. I mean, it's probably because I had been doing a lot of research for ads since I'd been doing more ad agency work. And I was just kind of looking around, seeing different ideas. And I looked up Ford stuff. I'd looked at a lot of their promotional material. And, I'm sure since my phone's listening to everything I do, it showed me that gem. And I'm glad. That's one good use of the internet, is show me good stuff like that.
The internet. You never know what you'll find. Like, I remember watching, I think it was Alex Trebek, like in the 80s, and it's like this outtake of him, and he's just dropping curses. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Imagine if let's say
little fingers.
I think it might have been that one, but just imagine the gold mines that people have in their back catalogs.
This commercial though, Brad, wasn't an outtake. It was just legit. The guy was straightforward about this commercial. There was no laughing, no nothing. He was straight into it. It's not an outtake.
Someone have to see this. This is what we're gonna do.
It's on his Instagram. Yeah, it's not an outtake. He's not like when someone says cut and he's like shit. No, it's not like that. He says. Shoot, I gotta bring it up.
That's amazing. Because when you guys were talking about it, it's like, oh, it's probably just an outtake somebody posted. It's the real deal. It's a real commercial.
Oh yeah, it's a real ad.
What?
Mm-hmm.
It's real.
That's ridiculous. Hey, the 80s were a different time. I guess you can get away with a lot more than those days.
Yeah. I mean, just listen, just watch Nickelodeon cartoons in the 90s and get all the adult jokes.
Hey, Cow and Chicken, one of the best cartoons back in the day. Or
Play
Ren and
this for me.
Stimpy.
I'm trying to find it right
You
now.
find it?
I don't know how far it is.
Oh, I can probably find it.
I like your face expression of you and The Rock.
That's my dad's favorite video, believe it or not.
Okay, the chili. Okay, here we go. There it is. There's Cooper. There, right, Blake?
Yeah, there he is. That's him. That's him. Man, how come I can't find it either? Oh, here it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
you found it.
Can you believe the bullshit everything puts in there?
My internet's terrible. Hold on,
I'll find like, man.
Fucking A. I guess it goes to show you what years of frustration do. Because for the last 12 years, Ford has built the best-selling truck in America, Ford F-150. Ford also builds the best-selling compact pickup, Ford Ranger. So if you want fucking stunts, see a fucking movie. But if it's America's #1 truck you want, go see your Ford.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I can't believe that's a real commercial.
You want to see effing stunts? Go watch a movie.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Another skit I'm always interested in is the part sales guy. You know,
mine where I'm selling I'm a sales rep at the motorcycle dealership. That's another one of my dad's favorite videos.
Oh my gosh, I love that one. Which one? How did you get that ball rolling?
So I used to work at a motorcycle shop, and there was this guy who was a motorcycle rep, and he would always kind of do that. And I kind of like, that's like a motorcycle rep's cliche, you know, they always just show up, and whenever you really need their help, they don't know, you know, it's just kind of like, I hammed it up a lot more, but yeah, there was a couple of people that we knew that were like that. And my buddies talked me into doing that because I was probably only 19 or so at the time, and they were like, "Dude, you've got to do this video," and so that's what we did.
One of my favorite things back on the YouTube channel back in the day was Jimmy McGarth.
Yeah, I still do some Jimmy McGarth stuff. The guy who does it, his name's Corey Green, and he's actually a badass on a dirt bike. A lot of people don't know that it's not a real person, but he has 2 kids now, and so that kind of slows down the jackassery a little bit.
Well, like the one thing about Trey Kennard that I remember finding out, which kind of led me to your guys, is the goon riding stuff. You know, like
right,
he was known for that. I love the one video. He's at the Honda test track. He just does this. I think it's that one, or it's the one he's riding the Cowie. Just does this stupid, ridiculous fender slap on like a triple.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, dude, why?
I know. It takes talent to ride that crappy on purpose.
It's stupid. Or like him just hanging off the bike, letting himself drag. I'm just like, what in the heck?
That's why everyone thought that he was Ronnie Mac, but there's no way in hell that Trey would ever do anything dressed as Ronnie Mac. He would never say or do anything that Ronnie does.
No. And you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but people know who Ronnie Mac is, like who's behind it and everything. People know, but you know, and another guy that, you know, I kind of got introduced through your videos was Brett Q. You know, that dude can whip a dirt bike like nobody's business.
So Brett Q hit me up to try to campaign harder to get himself into X Games Best Whip. So we started filming and pretty much trying to do the whole, you know, F you to X Games. You know, no matter how much you say no or won't invite him, we're going to keep doing badass whips, or, you know, not me, not we. This isn't OU football. But, you know, where I was like doing videos for him to go out and get, you know, more notoriety. And that's where that started.
And you have all this going on. Another project is once again the mouth thing. What got you the idea of putting mouths on UTVs?
So I can't take credit for the mouth stuff entirely. No one's ever really done it on UTVs and things. And um, I used to be a huge fan of Conan and the late night show, and he would do that to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He would cut his mouth out and he would talk a horrible impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I thought it was just the most hilarious thing I'd ever seen. And I started thinking, after some time, I got better with video, and it took me a while to get this idea again. I was like, golly, that was funny. I wonder if I could do that with, people. Or I started doing people first, like he did, and then I started doing it with UTVs. So, and I kind of want to do one with more than just UTVs, but that might take a little bit more effort on my part.
Well, one with monster trucks, I think definitely would be hilarious.
I've done one for monster trucks for the end of the year video, but they would probably refire me if I ever posted it.
They would just hire you back just to fire you again.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Let me put my dogs out real quick. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys.
That sounds good, man.
While we're at it, before want to thank everyone from that's watching right now. We'll answer some of your questions here, but once again, thanks to our sponsors: High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, Back Channel Productions, 6B Apparel, JB Scale Graphics, and also Bradley Shaw Designs. So when we sign off here, we'll be heading out. But want to thank everyone. Next week, once again, it's gonna be the Bradshaw Show. So he's going to be on. You may have some people, surprise guests, stuff like that, and go from there. Well, we're back to the show. So one thing I was always interested in that I notice how much you are into is RVs, campers, and stuff like that. What got you in love with that stuff? And I thought it was pretty cool to talk about.
So I got involved with a company called Capri Campers, and I started to partner with them on producing more lifestyle content using their campers. And so I got some trips together, put the camper on the truck, and just took off, started filming, developed a library of content for them to use on their social media, and then they would let me borrow some of their campers. And went on these cool adventures. Like I said before, I went to Paxton, stayed there without having to be in the Paxton Inn. That's a huge plus. And then I also, my brother's got a pull behind trailer. Thank you. And my dad's got an RV. And so I've got nothing right now because of COVID. Businesses tried to had to tighten up a little bit. So haven't had a camper in a little bit, but I am working with a company out of Kansas City, Missouri called Unlimited RV. And that is another thing that I'm pumped to talk about, is because I produced a 4-day live expo show that starts on Thursday and goes until Sunday. And they're 40-minute long shows where they introduce inside and out of 20 different RVs. They do 5 a day. And I had to produce all of this stuff from the host to, from head to toe. I had to do this whole thing. And they'll go through every single one of their RVs that they have on the lot for 4 days straight. So I'm pumped on that. But yeah, on Facebook, on Unlimited RV, you can check that out.
All right.
So, with a job like that, like how much editing would go into something like that? You mentioned, five RVs a video, 40 minutes, I believe, for 4 days. Like how much time does something like that take?
About a month of editing. And I'm telling you, it's like from the time I get home, and I'm saying from 7 a.m. until sometimes, it could be midnight, 1 a.m. And that is days in a row, all day, all night. It just takes a lot of attention to detail. And I don't like to let things linger. I like to get stuff done and being backlog is my worst fear. So I just like to try to get everything out there. But a month is about, what it takes to get that size of a project done. I said the Chili Bowl was a 1 week shoot, but it was a lot more intricate and definitely a lot more interview based. So, I think we covered probably on that occasion, we had 20 raw hours of footage. And then from the RV stuff, we probably had about eight or 10 raw hours of footage. So it's not quite, no, probably had about 4 to 5 raw hours of footage on that one. So, and it took a month, and the Chili Bowl took 2 months. So that's about right,
Man, that's crazy. It's just but we got about a few. Huh?
I can't read a book cover to cover because it's so boring, but I can sit and edit and edit and edit nonstop. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the same, like even just working on design work. That's the exact same thing. I feel that.
Yeah. It's so
we got
boring.
2 questions for you there.
Yeah. What's up? What's here one?
We got from Levi Shones. Ever heard of that guy? I guess he hung out with you in Monster Jam. He says, "What's the worst camera? What's the worst camera you used?"
The worst camera that I currently use, I don't like to use bad cameras, but if I had to put man, probably this camera, right? Let me see. I think the worst, it's not a bad camera, but this is probably the lowest grade camera I have. This is a Sony RX100, just the first edition model. It's like the iPhone 1 of this model. It only shoots 1080, but it packs a punch. It's got a 1-inch sensor and great audio. I actually found that camera out from the Hoonigan guys when I shot there with Ryan. I saw those guys. They were carrying these cameras around on this stick, these little handles. They mount the camera on top. For all you nerds out there, fellow nerds, they would mount this bad boy on top. And, like I said, the audio is real solid. And you can cover a whole day with a single battery. So it's a pretty good camera. So, Levi, my worst camera is badass.
And hey, the Hoonigan guys
is
go ahead, Chief.
Sorry. Asked the second question. Actually, from an old school guy, Mark Wheeler. He owned a monster truck called the Terra Duster. He said, "What was your most cherished video?"
Ooh, man, that's Dalton's. Dalton. Dalton Milliken passed away, and his family asked me to put together a memorial video for him, and that's my most fond. I can't watch it anymore, but it's my most fond video. Comes to mind immediately. We had the whole Monster Jam family was there, and his family, and just it was a special day. So, and that they asked me to do that. That was hard to do, but I was honored that they asked me to do that. So.
Go ahead, Brad.
Well, I was going to mention, you were talking about the Hoonigan videos and using that camera. I watch their content every day, and those cameras are a good the Burnyard videos, and when they were the Donut Garage and then their new spot, the cameras that they use, it's good audio, good sound. It's the same thing with good video. They're for how small it is. You said it packs a punch.
Absolutely, yeah. Autofocus. I highly suggest it for anyone who's looking into getting to, filming some of the fun stuff they do with their friends. Just get you one of those, and if look up Facebook Marketplace too, because it's a very useful store to find used cameras in good shape. So if you're on a budget, that helps.
Nice. Is there any social media people can follow you at?
Yeah, at Blake Shipman, and then I've got a YouTube channel. It's called Getting Blaked.
I like the name.
Thanks.
Original. Nice.
Yeah.
Man, it was awesome to have you on, man. Yeah, good time.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
We'll have you. We'll hopefully we'll have you on another time too. You know, it's good to tell. Like I always tell people, I'm like ours is just talking like around the water cooler. You know, between two furs. You know, something like that nature. It's not. My worst fear is to have the questions like Chris Farley with in the SNL saying, "Remember the one time you played for the Beatles?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I remember that. That was cool."
That was cool, huh? That's pretty good.
Oh man.
But once again, man, thank you for being on. It was awesome.
Thank you guys for having me. I had fun.
It was awesome, man.
All
right, Cheech, anything else, man?
Not much. Like I said, we talked to our sponsors and stuff like that. And before we go, my last question is for you, Blake. Is there any upcoming events that you're planning on filming?
Man, you know, honestly, I think that my biggest goal right now is to, man, just work. I've come up with this idea. It's the opposite of everyone else, is work locally, not globally. And I'm just trying to focus on, you know, my area, like stick to my pond and just do my thing here. And this is, if I have 1,000 really hardcore followers and subscribers from Oklahoma, as opposed to 30 or 60,000 that will never meet me, never contribute to my goals, then, you know, that's how I would like it to be. So my different way of thinking this past year has caused me to do a lot better here locally, and so I'm going to continue on doing that, which, you know, may mean that I'm not so much into off-road sports as far as working in the industry, but I'll always be riding. My family and I are heavily into off-road. I've got a track in my front yard. It is my landscaping. I'm just getting started on riding more myself, so I'm looking for a dirt bike. If anybody out there has a super sweet clean dirt bike in Oklahoma that's not going to break the bank, I don't care if it's used, I am a buyer. So yeah, just putting the vibe out there, trying to ride more now that I'm home and enjoy it.
Try that pit bike racing.
No, man, I'm not a racer. I'm just I'm a weekend warrior probably, but I'm not good enough to race, and I'm too fat, and it's just not a Clydesdale guy sport. Pit bikes are not for big dudes.
Hey, I know. As a big man, I attest to that.
Yeah. I'll catch like a foot of air once or twice here and there.
I just remember that some of the Instagram videos you did for the pit bike parts and stuff like that, and I always thought that one saying that commercial you did where it slides the box in and you're like, ooh, stickers.
That was kind of my Hispanic voice a little bit, you know.
I always like that. But man, thank you once again. Thank you for being on. And Brad, any final words?
Nope. If people want to go follow me on Instagram, it's at the Monster Truck and Ucker. Go check out Bradley Shaw Designs. I'm still doing stuff with the Renegade Tour. They're gearing up for a big season. And yeah, Cheech, any social media people can follow you on?
My pigeon passed away, so it's gotta get a hold of me. I will give you my postcard name, address if you guys want to write a letter to me. I still have my PayPal. My AOL Instant Messenger name is Restore429. If you guys hit me up.
Oh God!
All right. If you guys want to still go to yahoogames.com and challenge me a game of Yahoo Pool, I'm down with that too. I still hang out playing games at ebombsworld.com. If you guys want to hang out and play Pimp My Ride, make my cars, and all that stuff. Or you can check me out on Instagram at Dan Agosh 10, Dan Teach Agosh on Instagram, Facebook. Go ahead and check me out there. I got RC page. Agosh is RC Racing. Just got done doing some Sugar King, so check a look. Reading Rainbow. Take a look at that. Take a look at that on take a look at Sugar King on YouTube, and go on from there, man. Yeah, fond memories about that stuff. I was about to throw in my MySpace, but I found out that stuff's still going on. I deleted that crap in 2010, and I was like, I gotta figure out more stuff. Like last week, I talked 2 weeks ago. I said, my carrier pigeon. If you want to message me that, my Heinz soup can out of service right now. Someone cut the wire, so that's gonna be hard. I can't wait until my telegraph comes in, so I can go like from the Civil War. You know, I hear that. Tick, tick,
That was
tick, 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 tick.
Whatever you just tapped. Whatever you just tapped was offensive to somebody.
The only Morse code that I know is the beginning to Rush's YYZ. So,
you guys are
but anyway, I just keep on thinking of old forms of communication. So anyway, that's it. Once again, my Facebook, my Instagram.
Talking face to face.
Yeah, how about that? Especially on a dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pretty soon on my own horse will be carrying the mail. You know, try that stuff. But if anyone cares, my message in the bottle is locked down because of freight ship stuff.
As soon as you said that, the only thing that popped through my head was that song by the Police.
Message in a bottle. But I feel like I need to edit a bottle's floating getting stuck next to the thing. Have you seen that excavator trying to push that freight ship around? Freaking that thing. I don't know how I got stuck, but that's fucking funny. Excuse my French, but that is seeing that thing. It's like someone edited that ship on the video of Austin Powers when he's stuck in the factory with the Taylor Dunn cart. He's going back and forth. They put a ship on there, and man. Well, folks, if you're watching this with your kids, just warning you, we don't bleep it. So they're gonna start early anyway.
I know.
All right, everybody.
But anyway, guys.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Next week, like she said, it'll be me. Live long and prosper. All right, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Check up on your friends and loved ones, and make sure, just make sure everybody's doing all right. All right. Peace out, everybody.